The sea had finally released them. What returned to the north was not a victorious fleet, not heroes welcomed by songs, not men drunk on gold and glory. What returned were survivors, scarred, hardened, reshaped by the edge of the world itself. Bjorn Ironside stood on northern soil again, but the man who returned was no longer the son of Ragnar chasing horizons. He had crossed the limits of the known world. He had faced organized armies, fortified cities, disciplined fleets, and fire at sea. He had lost nearly half his men, and he had learned. This was no longer an age of wandering. This was the beginning of something far more dangerous. In the years following the Mediterranean expedition, around 862 to 865 AD, the Viking world began to change. Raids were no longer enough. Short voyages no longer satisfied men who had tasted empire-level resistance and survived it. Power was no longer measured by how far you could sail, but by how much land, loyalty, and fear you could command. Bjorn understood this before anyone else. He did not celebrate his return. He did not boast. He watched. Across Scandinavia, in modern-day Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, whispers spread. The sons of Ragnar were no longer united by legacy alone. Each carried ambition. Each carried followers. Each carried a claim. Ivar the Boneless ruled through terror and calculation. Halfdan Ragnarsson sought crowns across England, a balanced faith, war, and diplomacy. And Bjorn Ironside, Bjorn prepared for something darker. He was no longer preparing to raid foreign lands. He was preparing to fight Vikings. Experience had returned with him, sharper than any blade. Experience forged in storms, betrayal, siege, and mass death. Experience that taught him one brutal truth. The next wars would not be against monks, towns, or kings who fled at the sight of axes. They would be against men who fought the same way he did. The North felt it before it saw it. War bands gathered. Longships were rebuilt not for speed, but for endurance. Shields were reinforced. Weapons standardized. Veterans from Iberia and Italy became instructors, teaching formations, discipline, and restraint, concepts once foreign to Viking warfare. This was no longer chaos. This was preparation. Bjorn Ironside did not seek a crown yet. He sought something more essential: control. Because in the Viking world, leadership was never inherited peacefully. It was taken, and the wars that were coming would decide, not just who ruled, but what Vikings would become. The age of raiders was ending. The age of kings was about to be forged.